learn Python, and I'm like, can't get there yet.
Yeah, yeah. So the Python we're using right now. So right now, basically the overall is that we have this form submission. We filled out the form, right? We created, and then I think in previous videos I'll share the link in the chat that we created all these controls, right? So we created this control, which is like a chip control. So basically, you're typing your information. Once you hit enter, then it pops up, right? So we created such a control, right? We also created a file upload, right? So, file upload, as you can see, we also create our own custom one, which is really nice, right? And then once we submit the form, right, we're sending all that data over to the backend. And then, yeah, once you submit the form, let's see what that looks like, right? So file, yeah, so that fails. But if you go to our application, right, so what are the to our network tab, right? If you look at the data, right, here's the file information, right? So that's the name of my PDF. This is what a file actually looks like. You can see PDF, so you know it's a PDF file, and that's the type, usually known as the MIME type. I think, see, with coding, as much as I've done, you can see that I have problems every single day, just like you. I want the OBS screen to be here, the icon to be here, but the actual software to be on another screen, so I don't have to, so it doesn't interfere with my presentation. All right, so all right, with that, all right, it says request is not defined. All right, so let's try to see what's going on here.
Okay, I don't know anything about Python at all. I know Python, but I don't know anything about coding. So I'm just gonna watch you and see exactly what it is you're doing.
Yeah, 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 I'll definitely talk through it. I'll definitely talk through it. I'll definitely talk through it. Hopefully, this session, right, gain anything, right? Obviously, you're not going to become a coder overnight, even though I believe in you, right? But anything you gain, it's a live coding session. Definitely want to try to do this all the time as a code. All right, so try to look around, right? All right, so what I'm trying to do here, right, is basically, right, so this is basically a function, right? So anytime you don't want to repeat yourself, you use a function, right? So function's always going to start out with def and then the name of the function, right? So here I'm getting my app token, right? My Azure app access token. All right, so here what we're doing is this is called authentication and authorization, right? So anytime you hear the word authorization, think of access token,
Okay.
right? And then,
Well, the thing is, so I caught you in the middle of what it is you're doing. So for a beginner like me, I when I go to Python and I have to download, I don't know if you have to download certain softwares. That's like the beginning. So what
mhm.
you're doing is like really foreign to me because I didn't know where you started.
That, yeah, okay, okay. See, and that's the type of conversation I want this call. Yeah, so let's have that type of conversation. So I want you to look up pi env, right? So pi env for what you have, Windows or Mac,
You have Windows.
okay? So pi
So
env, right? And then installation. Hopefully it's beginner friendly. Good, 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 good. Right. So with that, right, uh, right, and then installation page. All right, this all came a long way since. All right, so PyEnv Windows. So anytime you install software, right, what you want to do is you want to make sure, yeah, anytime you install software, what you always want to do is you want to make sure that, okay, can I easily change the version of the software, right? That's the only, so you don't want to, when you install Python, there are many different versions of Python, right?
okay.
So let ask yourself a question, right? What happens if I need to upgrade Python?
What happens if I need to upgrade Python? I have
Y-
no idea.
Right,
Based upon the software, if I don't have the right software, I wouldn't be able to update it.
right, right, right. That's exactly right. So you need to write and update it easily. That's the thing, right? Because you don't want to take your computer to the shop, right? So you want to find software. It's going to be easy for you to update things,
Okay.
right? So one of that is a version manager. So you always ask yourself any type of software that I'm working with, is there a version manager? Is there many versions? Then is there a version manager? Then um yeah, and then right?
Okay.
Then install the version manager. Because all I do to switch from Python, so I say pyenv, okay, I kind of list available. Ah, right, look at that, right? So all the different version of Python is here for me, right? Then you install one, and then I could just switch with one command. So pyenv use, and that's it, a new installation, right? So definitely when it comes to installation, right, you always want to, the goal is to make installation easy, right? Not hard, because usually you install something, they give you something to download, that you hit
Mm.
install, then you see it run for a long time. No, right? When you become a developer, right, you want to be able to install at a single line, right? So if I think right, we can see.
Applications.
I'm thinking so I because I know that two things are running right now and I don't want to interfere with it, but
Okay.
Um, but just for you, 3.10, I think 10.8. Ah, wait, yeah, shell, right? Good, right? And now I type in my Python, 3.10.8, Control Z, Python v use, 3.11.0. Oh, I said, and then the Python, just like that, right? So that's your ultimate goal, right? So that's really important of it.
Okay.
All right, so with that, okay. So with that, so what I've done here is have my access token, right? I'm basically verifying this access token, the application access token, and then I want to see if this throws an error for now. Um, yeah, so get, so I know this doesn't exist,
And
right?
you have previous videos on all of this from the
No,
beginning?
I do it. I'm like, so it's like what you call. It's like it's not organized, right? So it's whatever I'm working on. Right? So
Oh,
like the
okay.
goal is like for you is to take a course. Like you see this to like identify because like as you're programming, you don't know what like tokens are. You don't know like what things are, and you don't know the
Mhm.
importance of them, right? So one of the goals, right, I see here is that you could start to you could start to see what things are, the things you don't recognize. Maybe you see them again. You can ask me, oh, what's that? And I'll tell you what it is, and I'll tell you the importance.
Okay.
Yeah. So right there's that. So okay. So this is my server. Verify
And
J.
since it wasn't recording from before, do you want to repeat what it is you're making?
No, that's not important. That's not an important thing,
Okay.
right? The important thing for you, right, is not what I said, right? Is learning patterns,
Okay.
right? So this is more right. So now kind of like I'd never know what it is to be sales. When I see sales, I think you're gonna call me on the phone, you're trying to sell me something. But I'm pretty sure for you, sales is more intricate. There's a lot more than sales that goes on than what I know, right? To
I don't like sell anything. I present demos of the software.
Right. And I don't think you're selling, right? So right? That's what these sessions are, right? To correct the way you think, so you could progress in your career. So like the failures that you've met before, right? You don't meet them again, right? So okay, so now I'm getting an error, right? But basically what's happening, like my server's acting like this. It's like flickering because it's restarting itself, but it's coming across the same error, right? So one of the things I like to do in the terminal is like to scroll up, and then let's try to go through it. No module named Azure AD verified token. So line 6. Okay, hold on. So it's telling me go to line 6, dot verify. It says
Mm-hmm.
port. So it's basically saying, hey, this doesn't exist, but it doesn't exist. But I know I installed it, but it's just the way. So I know I installed the package. Okay, so no module name. Okay, so this means, right? So what's happening here is like, so when you install things, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to do a local install. So usually, right, when things get installed, it gets installed here. Let's go. App data. Where's my app data? In your Windows computer, it goes in a place called app data, and then local, I suppose, and then it goes here, right? And then even yet, sometimes it gets installed here in the top level. Users. Oh no, not there. Programs, right? So sometimes it gets installed here, right? You don't want this, right? Because now, say for example, you install Python, right?
Mm-hmm.
Python goes installs it in your system. Now you need another version of Python.
Mm-hmm.
The system's the root level, right? That means permissions, right? That's like when you try to log into your account. I'll show you how to get your computer troubleshooted, and then and then it's like I, I can't think of the best example, right?
Okay.
But the point is that this, when you're in the top level, these files, they're highly protected, right? You can't just go in here and say delete. If I don't want to try it because imagine if it deletes everything, right?
Mm.
But right, right, then my computer's gonna break. I'm gonna need to get a new
All right.
computer, right? Right. So now you know the importance, right? Because this is sensitive stuff, right? This is the place where your computer breaks. So all this custom installation software, you don't want it to go here, right? That's why you want to install to a local directory. So this is where I install my stuff. I have a folder in my user account called My Programs,
Okay.
right? So this is desktop documents, app data, right? Things are stored here, but right, a lot of Windows uses this a lot, right? So I just say, okay, let me create my own right here. So this way, the programs in here never interferes with what Windows is doing, and everything works smoothly, right? Because
Okay.
when Windows does updates, it usually starts messing with things in here, and what I showed you earlier. So that's about local installation, right? So with
Okay.
that, right, there's a local installation. So usually the software is going to look in the global, right? That's what software is designed to do, right? But this is bad practice, and this is like the status quo, right? You see this in the status quo because like by default, this is what software wants to do. But me, as a developer, seasoned, right, I tell you, okay, no. If you don't want to spend years try to figure out why you can't get your software to work to
Mm-hmm.
get to install things, right? This is why. This is the trick, right? Local installation. Right? So now, as you can see, these are my local dependencies. I have a function here, local depths. Basically, I'm adding, right? So this is where all the dependencies are, and I'm adding that to the path, right? So path is what is used for software to find a dependency. So if something's not on a path, then it can't find it. So even though you installed it, right? So one thing that happens during installation is that it adds whatever software you installed to your computer's path so that your
Okay.
computer can find it, right? If it's not on the path, even though it's installed, then your computer doesn't know about
Okay.
it, right? So better yet, so now my application's running again, detect a change, so let's go ahead and try. I'm going to get an error, because right now this is empty. I haven't set this to anything. Right, this is my app access token, so I should get an error. Or let's see what the error is. Okay, so I get an error, right? So I want to do a try except, right? So basically I want to try to see that this JWT is valid, right? That I get no error. If it is, then I go ahead and return it, and then I say accept, and then I go ahead and grab another JWT. I get another application access token, right? And then I think what I want to do, what I really want to do is I want to call this again. All right, so let me say base, I think base exception as E. Let's see what this looks like. Catch a more specific exception or re-raise the exception. Yeah, it's annoying intelligence,
What does that mean?
right? So basically, it's a practice that it's like you're catching everything. Like
Mm.
it's like the metaphor about organizing your paperwork before,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm.
So here, basically all my errors, I'm going to deal with it in one place. But the thing, there's all different type of errors out there, right? So
Mm.
basically it wants a list of the errors with their names. But I ain't doing that right now because I don't need that list, right? But that's in,
Okay.
so this is I don't need it right here because I'm saying if anything's wrong with this token, yeah, I need a new token, right? The intellisense, right, is telling me that like and when I say intellisense, like there's software in this like code. So this is like VS Code. This is where you type your code, right? And
Mm.
then there's extensions, right? So if you look here, I have 200 extensions installed just to help me
Mm.
code, right? So you just know, right? I don't know it all, right? Just know that there's 200 pieces of software helping me, right? So there's that, right? So you never, so like that's the thing, right? So I'm gonna print, I'm gonna see the error, I'm gonna see the error, and then I'm gonna go ahead and generate, and then I'm gonna do something called recursion. You've taken computer science courses before, right?
No, I have not.
Oh, okay, 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 okay. So you're not gonna know recursion, but just when you ever you hear the term recursion, just think the function is calling itself, right? So basically recursion is you calling your own phone number,
Okay.
right? That's recursion. So I'm calling it again, right? So basically, I'm going to keep on getting errors until I get this right. But this could go on forever. This might be infinite, right? But it's you definitely want to be careful with the recursion. But we're going to use it here anyway, because I know that after all these checks, this will become valid, unless this function doesn't valid is not for validating the access token, right? So what's happening here is it's like there's two types of access token, right? So basically think of access token like a key, right? So your manager has the key to all the office in the resor in the office, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you only have the key just to get in and get to your desk,
Okay.
right?
Accept.
So this is like a software. This was meant for you. This was never meant for your manager. So it may not work with your manager's key, but will verify your key. But I want to see. But the only thing I'm worried about is that this will run forever if this function doesn't work with the manager key. So that's what access tokens are. They're just keys to open up certain doors in the office.
Okay.
Right? So okay, so there's that. There's that. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit submit. All right, and then I wanna. Right, so let's see what happened here. Request is not defined. Okay, so it actually went through, but now it's saying request is not defined. So now I'm gonna go over to my collegiate. It's not immediately obvious, but I'm getting a different type of error. I'm kind of moving forward, right? So here's the function. Oh, wait. Oh, okay. Here. All right. I got an import request. All right. All right. Look at that. All right. Well, let me just talk it through. Let's talk through this. Okay. No module named request. Yeah.
because you already did it.
Because I already did what?
It doesn't need request because you already requested it.
No,
Why?
request is just like the name of a software. It's just the name of
Uh,
a dependency, right? But remember, they're supposed to go. So what Python? So unfortunately, right, all this software helping me, it's not
mhm.
putting things in the right place. Ultimately, what I want is for all my local dependencies to end up under here, but it doesn't do that, right? So let's look at my requirements. So this is where I list all my dependencies. A request is one of them. Request is one of them.
Mhm.
These are my requirements for the software to work. So Python has some built-in ones. This is the one that I don't need to go ahead and install. This is the one that's already come with Python, right? But there's ones that I need to install. But the logic here is that, right, like I said, local dependencies, right, it needs to be locally installed. So what happened is it couldn't find it. But I think I'm gonna have a whole plethora of errors before anything, right? So yeah, I say okay. So I think this one's going through. All right, so KID is not recognized. Okay, so see that? So this is the recursion I was talking about. See, I'm calling myself again and again,
Mhm.
right? And why? Why? I said this earlier. Why am I calling myself again and again?
I don't remember.
No, because I said this function, right? It was good for which key?
The access key.
No, which key? Your manager's key or your key?
Oh, my key.
Right, but it's not good for the manager key, right? So
Right.
now I gotta find something, right? So now I gotta edit this. Hopefully it stops. Yeah, so now it stopped. Okay, good. Right, so now I gotta find something. So so I think that so with that, right, I actually start work. All right, so let's try
Okay.
this out. I'll just let you know I gotta get on a call at 9, but in these 5 minutes, right, because this is like a character trait about me. Let's try to see if I can figure something out. Um, all right, so let's try to look. So usually, right, what I would like when I'm dealing with software in the day to day, right, and this is known as like API, right, is that you don't want to use the libraries that they get. Like, you don't want to install a software, right? So
Mhm.
what this is a network call, right? So this no, that's not a network call, but you what you want is you want to make an API call as I'm doing here, as you can see here. So this is like you see. Does this look like a website to you?
No. Microsoft.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so these are known. So even though this looks like a website, this is still good. But ultimately, right, this is so ultimately, yeah, all right. So I'm not even going to go into it, but ultimately, what you want to do is that you want in your code, you want to be making these calls instead of using libraries, because libraries they're only good for Python, right? So this library here that I was using before, or better yet, this library is just good for Python. If I wanted to use it in another software, I can't, right?
Mm.
But if I go into a website, one thing good to know is that all pieces of software, Python, JavaScript, Java, they could go to websites. All of them have feature so that you could go to a website and get some data back.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what, so ultimately, so that's what we want to do. But I think sometimes you have to decide working with what you work with. Sometimes it's better, but like generally, that's what we want to do. It's like you, but what I said there, just take with a grain of salt. Like you have to make the decision, sometimes, right? So, but I'll show you now. So right now, right, Microsoft, they have a library, right, and they call it MSALT, right? That's the name of the library. It's a abbreviation. So one of these methods are going to allow me to one of these methods are going to allow me to verify this application token, right? So
Mhm.
right, so and then definitely important. Anytime you hear super user or manager, think application token. Anytime you think of user, it's known as a delegate, right? So like in business, like you are a delegate and your manager is the application.
Okay.
Yeah, so try to look for it. This might take a bit, and so
You have to stop work.
yeah. I'm gonna try to no the work you're working here at Wells Fargo. You use the delegate access token. It's the octave. It's, it's a token, right? It's a token. It's a bad scope, right? I think you have to validate it. It's a great token. This is for the graph, right? Oh, I think it's for the graph. Yeah, I'm using a different function, right? Oh, oh, okay. The KID, not recognized. NPR. So Ensol, yeah, no. So, alright, so I gotta see what version of Ensol I'm working with. Freeze. So that runs. Alright, we'll play 20. Alright, so you know what? Let me try to go to the library itself so I see what's going on in there. Acquire token for client. Huh, it's not doing a whole lot. Okay, it looks like it extends the client application. Alright, def. Alright, so def sign out. Def forget me. Acquire token. Yeah, so I could use the refresh token to get another access token. Acquire token, that refresh token, I'm definitely gonna use that. Acquire token. So acquire token by username and password. Huh. It's kinda interesting. Alright, yeah, so let's see validate. I don't know if I can use MSOL to validate, but I want to use the application access token to do something. Right. I think instead of verified G, I don't want to make an API call every time. Might be a bit longer than I'm thinking. All right. Let me see. See if anything else is in this library. There's some massive library here. It's K0. That's what the broker does. Okay. Maybe take a bit longer than I think. All right. Let's try to see. YDC. Oh, two. Huh. K0. Okay. Oh, let's try this. Base client. Base client. Huh. Base client. All right. Let me try this. If I get a result back, do I erase something? Hopefully, base client is very, very generic. It looks like you figured it out. Can I go to this import? I do know it's not going to figure it out. Very, very generic main base client. A lot of different libraries can use the word base. Right, so let's try to see. So let's see what's going on. Oh, didn't pass in a refresh token. Wait, obtain token that refresh token. I thought I passed it in. Okay. No, so that's not how it works. I wish it was. It would be nice. There's no let in Python, so say B. Let's try this again. I'm wondering if the base client lives anywhere here. Let's open up this library. Alright, because the way I'm looking at it right now, I really feel like it does. So, say packages, Windows, and let's try to go into MSOL. Alright, and let's try to figure this out right now. OAuth 2. Are you part of anything? Sure you are. Control Shift F, base client. Right, so let's see. Alright, so even more generic is this client class. Yeah, I'll say client. So this is an off code too. What's this for? I think I'm gonna have to build it. So I have an authorization endpoint here and my client ID. Alright, let's try to set it up. So here, say B. So I have an endpoint, right? So I have say configs dot Azure client ID, and I say the authority. So authorization endpoint, I'll just use the sign out, sign in endpoint. Just gonna be here. And I'm kind of a bit worried about this because the authority endpoint now, but I'm also rendering to see what this looks like because I don't think, yeah, see what this looks like. Token endpoint not found in configuration. Yeah, that's what I see what it's all about. Well, huh, maybe this is my token endpoint. That's my authorization endpoint right here. Well, and think about it, it's authorization, right? So this is where the access token probably lives. Let's go that. Let's replace with the 80 tenant ID. Let's see if it gets validated. Wait, but this is not. I'm providing an access token, not a refresh token, huh? All right. Well, that's okay. Yeah, I think it's gonna fail. Yeah, token endpoint not found in configuration. Yeah, so this is not gonna work out. Hmm. All right. Well, until next time.